Life Audio.
Hey, welcome to a new God's Love for the Unlovable and Gospel Rant series called Vagabond Diaries. We want it to be fun, informative. We're going to use story. We're going to use old TV shows and movies and all kind of ways to present the gospel, to get us thinking about the gospel with new lenses. Yeah? Well, today, this is going to be a little weird one. We're going to try this out. We're going all the way back to the 1960s, black and white TV show for children. Do you remember Leave It to Beaver? Boy, I do. I guess I'm showing my age. It's an American television sitcom that follows the misadventures of a suburban boy, Beaver. Yeah, I don't know where they got, I don't know. And his family, his friends. It starred Barbara Billingsley, Hugh Beaumont, Tony Dow, and of course, Jerry Mathers as the Beaver. It ran in black and white from 1957, my birthday, to 1963. And if you want, you can still watch it on YouTube. This is really for the older folks who are in the audience who remember Leave It to Beaver. I'll give it a shot. Welcome to God's Love for the Unlovable and Gospel Rant. We're going to get back to this week's Vagabond Diary after this message from our sponsors. So here we are, Leave It to Beaver. First of all, a biblical verse hopefully will save us. Luke 12:29-30. And do not seek what you shall eat and what you shall drink, and do not keep worrying. Your Father knows that you need these things. Scene 1. At the dinner table, Dad faces the stage, reading a newspaper, as he always did, with a pipe, if you remember. Mom setting the table for dinner, rolls, corn on the cob, silverware, cabbage, etc. As Mom sets the table, Beaver, sitting opposite to her with his little cap on, waits till she turns away and secretly scrounges away the tasty morsels in his pockets. Mom eventually thinks that Dad is sneaking nibbles. Dad finally realizes that Beaver is doing some strange stuff. So he watches to see what will happen next. Mom is still confused as to where the food went. Dad gives the blessing. Beaver takes a couple of bites and quickly asks to be excused. Beaver: Mommy, Daddy, can I be excused now? He walks off trailing sausage links, dropping silverware and corn from his clothes. Dad winks at Mom. Daddy: Beaver: Son, can we talk for a minute? I mean, man to man. Beaver: Sure, Daddy. And shamedly sneaking back to his chair. Dad: Beav, your mother has a question. Mother, shaking her head: Yes, Beaver, we've been noticing that you've been acting odd lately. Beaver: Well, what do you mean, Mommy? Mom: Well, your Father and I have noticed that some things are missing. Beaver: Missing? Like what, Mommy? Mommy: Well, we seem to be missing some corn, some rolls, and I think even some cabbage. Beaver: Cabbage? Really, Mommy? Mommy: Yes, and your father and I seem to be washing fewer dishes. Beaver, as a fork falls out of his sleeve: You mean like silverware, Mommy? Mommy: Yes, Beaver, still dropping silverware. And your father is worried about you, aren't you, dear? Dad: Huh? Oh, yes, that's right. Son, your mother and I are worried about you, aren't we, dear? The Dad and Mom exchange looks. Mom: Beaver, why are you taking these things? Beaver: Well, I was talking to Lumpy, and he was saying that when little boys are really bad, their parents stop feeding them for days and days, and then they would get thin and their eyes would bulge out and stuff. Dad: Beav, is there something you need to tell us? Beav: Well, so you promise you won't get all mad and stop feeding me? Dad: Of course, Beaver, son, we love you. We wouldn't stop feeding you. Beaver: Well, you mean that even if I did something real bad, you wouldn't stop feeding me? Mom and Dad: Of course not, Beav. Beav: Even if I told you that I didn't wash my hands before dinner? Dad and Mom chuckling with some relief. Of course not. Beav. Or if I told you that I didn't make my bed? Dad and Mom. Of course not. We would still love you. Beav. Well, what if I told you that I broke Lumpy's sister's arm and then the ambulance came with this lawyer fellow who asked what Dad's salary was? Dad, shocked. Beaver, you didn't tell this lawyer what my salary was, did you? Mom, dear, Beaver, we would still love you. You don't ever have to worry that we would ever stop loving you or stop feeding you, right, dear? Dad, of course. How bad was the break? Beaver, you mean Lumpy was wrong? You'd love me no matter what I did and still feed me too? Mom and Dad, of course. We love you. Beav, Mommy, Daddy, I think you are really swell. They hug and lights fade. The end. All right, let's talk about this after a few words from our sponsors. So here's some dialogue starters for this silliness that I thought about. And just for the kiddos, maybe, what do you guys think? If you like this Vagabond Diary, please like and subscribe it. Forward the link to a friend. Check out my fantasy books for 10 to 15-year-olds, the Kingdom Quest trilogy. That's The Tale of the Unlikely Prince, Storyteller's Tale, and The Garden Tale, available on Amazon Kindle and Barnes & Noble. If you want to know more, check out drbillsenior.com. Check out my Bible study groups for women book, Dance Daughters of the Most High. It'll be a trilogy as well. The second one's coming out early 2025. It's about 7 underappreciated, misunderstood, and overlooked women who should have their day. Fun stories, things you don't know about, lead to great dialogue. We're getting great reviews. You can check it out on Kindle, Amazon, Barnes & Noble as well. Check it out. We'll see you next time on Vagabond Diary. Take heart, child of God.
Finding uplifting news in today's headlines is often like searching for a needle in a haystack. At the Story Behind podcast, we believe in the power of finding heartwarming tales and are happy to share empowering stories with you every week. Get inspired by the note a waitress received from a patron dining alone, and even hear about how one VIP passenger made a hardworking pilot get emotional before his flight. To start listening to the Story Behind podcast, visit lifeaudio.com